questions to ask throughout a campaign with the confidence rising. I told WDF don't switch, good times are coming on for deep diving. Fan cams, reactions, watch along, still the pride of London thriving. The Eagles of South, they flying. Keep your eyes on us, we ain't hiding.
I'm still never going to get bored about that intro. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, and welcome to Season 2, Episode 2 of the Premier League Review Show. I'm not alone this week. I'm not alone this Tuesday. I've got my co-host. I've got the stat man. Dan, how are you, sir?
I'm very good. I've had college today. I finished college, so I'm happy at the moment. How are you, Nicky?
I'm doing good, mate. The sun's out. Good weekend of actions just gone by, and we're going into another exciting week. We got a London derby coming up for Palace, so our second already. There's a lot of derbies to go through, even on this weekend alone.
No, for sure, for sure.
It's going, man. So there we are. Welcome to the Premier League Review Show. Hooray! So we're going to kick off today's action with our Friday night football. And it's a cagey Friday night affair between Nottingham Forest and Sheffield United, ending 2-1 for Forest to get their first 3 points at home and of the season. The action kicks off straight away with Serge Aurier, who definitely is man of the match, in my opinion, for this game. He sends in a beautiful cross to Awoniyi for his second of the season already, 2 in 2 games for Awoniyi, and 6 consecutive goals in Premier League appearances for him. He's cooking. He's cooking with oil. He is. And Nottingham Forest almost sit back in this game as I was watching it on Friday night. They invite the pressure after their goal with Sheffield, allow the Blades to get shot after shot after shot. Vinicius Souza sends in a beautiful curling shot off a poorly cleared corner. And Matt Turner, if Aurier isn't man of the match, Matt Turner certainly is for this game, because he pulled off some amazing saves. But it was was this his debut? I think this might have been Hammer's debut for Sheffield.
It was, yeah.
It was, yes. And he scores from just outside the box. Very, very similar shot to Vinicius Souza just on the other side. He curls in a beautiful goal that I think he will remember for a very, very long time, because that's how you want to score in your debut, right in front of your fans, and it is level. It is all level. And again, Nottingham Forest don't really do much, because Sheffield now have the fire lit under them. They want to go for these 3 points. And poor defending, I think Matt Turner certainly keeps them in this game after following that. But it would take all the way up until near the end of the game. Serge Aurier again with, I think, so far, out of all the games I've seen, this is probably the best cross I've seen in a long, long time. He sends in a ball. He's got no right to send in a ball that good. And somehow it finds itself on the head of Chris Wood, and he heads it in for a winner. Aurier, take a bow, because this was ridiculous. Oh my God. He scores the winner. And it is 2-1 to Nottingham Forest to get their first 3 points. And a lot of people who have highlighted Sheffield United to go straight back down after this season, they certainly don't look like the belief is that they can stay up, especially in this game. They really, really fought hard in this game, especially even in the game against Palace. They were in that game. It was a cagey affair, like I said at the beginning. Afternoon, Mr. Chairman.
Big up, Neil.
Afternoon, guys. Left Palace at nearly midnight last night after AFTV. That was crazy. Yeah, seeing all of the action. Shout out to AFTV Cecil. Shout out to Cecil for coming on to the Premier League for our match preview. My tongue twisters today. He was on the preview. Shout out to Tariq as well, and then also catch JC and Rich on AFTV with the opposition cam. Dropping. I'm not gonna lie. The thumbnail though is hilarious. If you go on YouTube, look up the thumbnail because it looks like JC and Rich are about to just drop the fire album of the century. That was funny for me. Yeah, Dan, do you feel like Sheffield United are gonna go straight back down after this season?
Yeah,
fair enough.
I think they'll go back down. I think they've made some good signings. Like I said, Hammond made his debut, and from what I've seen of him at Cov and what I've heard from him from my boss, who is a Cov fan, who was absolutely gutted when he left Cov. He's probably going to be doing that more this season. Some bangers like that. I think the thing is with Sheffield United, I think their squad just isn't really up to it. I think they've got a good manager. I think Heckingbottom's a good manager. He's very organised. I just can't see them managing to stay up above three other teams unless three other teams just have awful seasons.
Of course. Michael Brown says his relegation favourites are Everton, Luton Town and Sheffield United. I believe that I have the exact same as you, Michael, in that same order as well, from descending order. Let's go on to the Premier League champions. They faced Newcastle United. It's 2 wins out of 2 for Pep City. This really was the Phil Foden show in this game. Phil Foden, he woke up violent because he dominated this game. He chose violence for this game because he was setting up left, right, and centre. He was attempting with chances. He was given chances as well. Unfortunately, a lot of them didn't come off for Haaland, for Foden. The ball just didn't sit right for Haaland, as we know he can score from anywhere. But just this time, it just didn't get into the rhythm of the game. But Julian Alvarez certainly does, with City's first attack on target. It's their first shot on target, and he puts it away just inside the box, sends it in for his first goal of the season. And not much else to say about this. Newcastle sort of didn't really find a rhythm in this game. They had chances, but they, like Haaland and like Foden, they never got their feet set. Guimaraes, for one, he has a chance and he fluffs it, which was surprising for me, because Guimaraes is sort of somewhat reliable at point blank range. You're expecting him; he can at least trouble the goalkeeper, hit the post, but no, it goes way wide, much to the delight of the City fans. And it is just a nice little 1-0 victory. They count. All the wins, they count. 3 points are 3 points for City. They won't complain. It's a clean sheet as well. So if you've got Edison in your FPL, well done. Well done. I don't. I should have put Edison in this one. But no, not much else to say about this one. Phil Foden certainly will be catching the eye of Gareth Southgate coming into the England internationals, call-ups coming up at the end of the month. Yeah, not much else to say about this one. It was just a nice little 1-0 victory for Man City. What do you think, Dan?
Yeah, I agree. I think for them, I feel like Newcastle is generally the team that gives them the best game of the season based on last season. I think Newcastle's press is usually very, very good, and I think City probably struggle with that the most of any team that they play. So for them to get a 1-0 win at the end of the day, 3 points is 3 points. They're going to look at that as a big bonus there. Yeah,
especially against a team that has now got a chance at challenging these top teams. We are going to stay in and around the top 6 or top 8, however you want to describe them now, because we're going to Tottenham. So a 2-0 victory here. The Ange Postecoglou era begins. This game was probably one of the most entertaining. You certainly got your value for money in this game. With Tottenham and Man United, it's never a boring game. Case in point, the utter demolition at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium a few seasons ago. But Pape Sarr scores on his debut for Man United's defence seemed to be all over the place in this game, and it wasn't great to see. But before that, chances left, right, and centre for both teams. Goalkeepers certainly were on top form today in this game. And Pedro Porro has probably the best chance before the goal goes in. He hits the post not once, but then somebody else hits the post after that. And United's defence just didn't... They were panicking. This was panic stations for Manchester United. But it would be Pape Sarr who would score off a poor clearance. Man United just never cleared the ball correctly. The ball falls to Pape Sarr and he smashes it into the top of the net, and it's 1-0. And after that, Man United try and get back into the game. Bruno, who we know is a threat from anywhere, he can assist, he can score. He has a fantastic chance and just fluffs his lines as well. But it would be, unfortunately, this is unfortunate. Lisandro Martinez, unfortunately, would put the nail in the coffin for Manchester United off an unfortunate own goal. Ben Davies looks like he gets a touch on the ball, but it's actually come off of Lisandro's boot, and it just bounces and just rolls into the net past Andre Onana, and it was almost comical. But yeah, it's not looking good for Manchester United. Or, as the rumours go, on or off the pitch, they've got situations to deal with. But on the pitch, Man United in this game, they just looked like a pub team. Tottenham outclassed them in this game. And it was almost embarrassing for Manchester United, because all their fans make that journey all the way down from Manchester to London to that. That was a shocking performance, and I think Ten Hag needs to have a word with his players, and they need to get back on. They need to get back into form very, very quickly, because this is the sort of win that Tottenham will take, and they will run with this. With Man United, this is the kind of loss they take, and it sort of holds them back a bit. What do you think, Dan?
Yeah, no, I agree. I think firstly, yeah, well done to Spurs. I'm a big fan of Anger. I was a fan of him at Celtic, and he did very well with Australia as well before he was unfairly sacked or unfairly parted ways. And again, yeah, I think you're right with Man United. I think last season there was a lot of optimism about Ten Hag coming in. I think Ten Hag's another very good manager. Have they strengthened in the right places? That's very debatable at the moment. Perhaps maybe their signings are just taking some time to bed in. I mean, they started last season very slowly as well, so maybe they just will start the season slow. But so far, so good. They're probably a bit frustrated, because I would imagine after the optimism from last season, they probably wanted to build on that, and they haven't done that so far. And also, it's really annoying for me because I had Lisandro Martinez in my FPL. So, cheers, Lisandro. Yeah, you're just glad it's before the watershed.
Michael Brown, another comment. Sheffield United had a mini transfer embargo last season and have little money to spend. They sold their talisman Ndiaye to Marseille for 20 million, Berger to Burnley for 14 million, Everton in the same position. Yeah, that is spot on there, Michael. Thank you very much.
I think on the tactical stream, I think I looked at Sheffield United's starting lineup from their final game last season, and I think all of them, apart from 2 of their players, were either there when they got relegated last time or aren't there anymore. So yeah.
We're gonna go off up to Molyneux at Wolverhampton.
Oh God, can we skip this one?
No, we can't. Unfortunately, we can't. I don't want to praise him too much because last week I'd sort of heaped on the praise on De Zerbi's Brighton, but I can't help it. They're entertaining to watch, and Wolves were just dire in this game. The fans leaving early, because this was nightmare situation for Wolves. If anything, this is Wolves fans, get ready because this could be it for you. The Kaoru Mitoma show continues. He is on fire with assists and goals in this one. He gets the scoring started in the 15th minute before Pervis Estupiñán. Estupiñán is, he's class. He is. I really, really enjoy watching him play on the pitch. JC says Wolves are okay going forward. It's just everywhere else is dreadful for them.
They're just in disarray, aren't they? Like,
they are just in disarray. They are.
Like, I mean, like with like the whole preseason thing, like they can't spend any money apparently. Lopetegui getting the ump and then leaving. It's just yeah.
And they're hoping that Gary O'Neill can obviously keep them up as he did with Bournemouth last season. It's the Sean Derry tax.
Passion Wanderers.
But yeah, it wouldn't be until just after the hour mark that Wolves would even get a goal. They got that through Hee-Chan Hwang, but not before Solly March scores 2 in 4 minutes, bringing his tally up to 3 goals in 2 games. It's crazy. Michael, again, not a Palace supporter, but they should have a similar season as last without Zaha. Roy Hodgson at the helm will provide stability. That's the hope.
Yeah.
I think we're all hoping that.
Completely agree.
Yeah. Right. I'm only going to say one more thing about Brighton, and then we'll move on to the next game. How long does Mitoma stay? Because we've seen clubs have been raiding Brighton. Caicedo, McAllister, Sanchez. Does Mitoma stay until January, or does he stay for the season and just hopes for the best to see how high they can go with Brighton this season?
Look, okay, don't start me off, right? Look, let me just say what I'm gonna say, okay? I think Brighton played beautiful football. I think De Zerbi is an incredible manager. I think he's a massive upgrade on Potter. Like, I actually think I would put De Zerbi incredibly high up in current world managers. Like, he's actually, like, when you have a manager that is even making Pep change the way he plays football. I'm not saying that he created it, because I think like Ten Hag, I think, got there slightly before him. But when he's at like Sassuolo and Shakhtar, and he's able to create a way of playing that even Pep Guardiola admires, I think that really is. I think that is really impressive, and I think some of their scouting is excellent. I think their scouting is excellent compared to the Premier League average scouting of just being absolute rubbish. I know like they're about to bring in like Fabrizio Diaz as well, who I watched at the Under-20 World Cup, who I thought was excellent. What I will say about Brighton though and Kaoru Mitoma is that I think if Kaoru Mitoma moves to another team, I think he's very average. I think, in my opinion, I think he's quite old. He's not quite old, sorry. He's older than the typical Brighton player. Well, I say typical. He's older. And also, I do genuinely think that Matoma is a bit one-dimensional, and I do think his decision making lets him down at times. And I've seen Brighton fans say that, so that's not me being biased. Like towards the end of last season, I know it's a different season, but towards the end of last season, he got like 1 assist in 12 games in a team like Brighton. That's not a lot at all. I think his goal was very good today, but honestly, when they come up against better teams, like, I'm not saying that they've played crap teams. I mean, they have played crap teams, but like they are a good team. I'm not saying that they've only played well because of that, but I think when they come up against other teams, I think he'll tail off. I personally don't think he'll leave because I don't think teams will pay the money for him. And I think there are quite a lot of wingers out there anyway that I think there's a lot of wingers that I don't think that he would move. Again, maybe all that's me being biased. I don't know, but I don't think he would move because I think he's going to tail off, and I think he'd be too expensive. And I think there's a lot of supply of wingers around anyway. Estupinian, on the other hand, I think he could go for a lot. I would be of those players. I would say he could go for a lot of money as well because I think he's very good.
Fair enough. But got some comments here from the chairman saying news is that Zaha's done his hamstring again. Maybe he left at the right time for us. I think he left at. I think we're okay without him. At least for the moment, we've not shown too much of a desperation for him. He also says Sambi Lokonga in talks with Brighton. They can have him. I didn't see a lot of him when he was at Palace, and I didn't really think under RHEA he wasn't really picked because he wasn't a RHEA type player. He was more a Vieira type. But
I think if he's partnered with someone decent, I think he'd be okay. I think he just can't really. I don't know. I don't think he did particularly well at us, did he?
No, he didn't. Let's go to Anfield in a very entertaining game. Goals always assured in this game between these two teams. But the Reds were certainly on show at Anfield, if you pardon the pun, because Antoine Semenyo gets a surprise goal straight off the bat, which sort of stuns Liverpool a little bit. I think, especially when they played Bournemouth at Anfield, not so much down at Bournemouth at Dean Court, it's almost an expectation. I was like, it's only Bournemouth. I think they always get a little bit too arrogant when it comes to Bournemouth because of the previous scorelines against this team that they've had. But Antoine Semenyo puts it away for a goal in the 3rd minute. And then Liverpool were just there like, no. Liverpool remember who they are, and it is chance after chance after chance after chance. Liverpool just decide, let's pepper the goal. Luis Diaz with almost whenever I've seen Luis Diaz properly, like whenever I've actually focused on him, it always seems like the ball is like magnetized to his boot. His ball control is superb. Some of the best I've seen up in the league lately. He puts in the equalizer, but after that, Mohamed Salah would score just before half-time. And then probably the most controversial red card so far of the season, because this is a straight red on Alexis McAllister. He's gone for the ball. I cannot recall who he went in with, but the clash is McAllister's boot is up, studs somewhat up, but they've both gone for the ball. That's the critical point, is that the ball moves a millisecond afterwards, and McAllister's boot clashes with the Bournemouth player's ankle, and it is a straight red card, which isn't a red card in my opinion. Now, Jurgen Klopp said in his post-match interview on Sky Sports that he would look at a potential investigation into that, possible appeal into that red card, which I think should be. But it brings up a point before I get to the Diego Jota goal. Referees are very, very strict this season. Is this a case of they've been told by the PGMOL, you have to be stricter? We've seen easy yellow cards come out. We've seen straight reds come out. Are referees stricter this season, Dan?
I don't know if they're necessarily stricter. I think they're just incompetent, to be honest. Like, I think because it wasn't that long ago that the refs were told to be a bit more lenient with it. I don't think they're necessarily stricter. I think they're just incompetent, to be honest.
There's no consistency.
Yeah, it's a lack of consistency. Like, I mean, the thing is, it wouldn't surprise me if next weekend you'll see exactly the same thing. I mean, just for clarity, I also do not think that is a red card in a million years. Yeah, I mean, it wouldn't surprise you if you saw it next week and it'll be a yellow as it should be.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? So I think it's more as a highlight of the inconsistencies rather than them. And let's be honest, they get told, like, even if they got told to be stricter, they've been told many things and they still don't do it. So
yeah,
I don't think so, to be honest.
It's interesting because there's a fair few players who were sent off this weekend, and you've got Alexis McAllister getting sent off for a somewhat dubious challenge, and then you got Mateus Nunes for Wolves in the previous game that we just talked about. His head just he blew off his top and just started off pushing, shoving, elbowing players left, right, and centre. So the consistency is yet to be found for the referees yet again. But Diego Jota would solidify the 3 points for the 10-man Liverpool. Just coming in on the left-hand side of the goal, slots it away nice and easy. Bournemouth's goalkeeper is shocking. Who is their goalkeeper?
For that game, well, last season they had the Brazilian goalkeeper, the Portuguese goalkeeper, Neto. I don't know if he played.
I think was it Neto?
I don't know if that's because he played quite well last season, but
he did play quite well last season. I do need to.
Let me check that. It was. Yeah, it was Neto. Yeah,
it was Neto. He had a shocker in this one. He was. I don't know what he was thinking, but there was a lot of times where I'm there like, what are you doing? There's no commanding of your box. There's no effort in this one. So an off day for him. Then again, you can say it is Liverpool. Their class is far higher than most teams that you will face in the world. But at the same time, try, Anyway, we're going to speak about our first of, I think, 3 London derbies. There were. And we are going off to a West London derby with Fulham and Brentford. And Wissa and Mbeumo. Oh, boy. These two are a partnership beyond any recognition. Because whenever one scores, the other is probably going to score straight after that. And they certainly do that. Yoane Wissa scores the first goal, not for a fair few chances getting sent in left, right, and centre for both teams. Brentford certainly dominated this game. It looks like with Mitrovic leaving Fulham are in a bit of a case where, what's next? De Cordova-Reid, though, does have a chance in the early stages of the game. Obviously, he scored last weekend. Not much else to say about that. Tim Ream sent off following into the second half before Brian Mbeumo would score from the penalty spot. Very nice penalty, Ivan Toney-esque. Short little run-up, slots it away, and Bernd Leno is just rooted to the spot. Can't do nothing about it. And then he would follow up with a cracking goal to finish off it and to make it 3-0. not much else. I've heaped on the praise on Brentford in previous Premier League reviews, and I'm just going to be repeating my words. Thomas Frank is the perfect manager for this team. They obviously respect him. He respects them. Obviously, I'm not sure if you had a chance to have a quick listen to it, but Dan, but Ivan Toney had a interview come out recently.
Oh yeah, no, I've heard about it, but I haven't.
It's utterly ridiculous, the fact that he says, "Oh, he's a Liverpool supporter, and he wants to play for Arsenal. He wants to play at a higher level of football." And they're like, "You've just shot yourself in the foot there, son, because you're pretty much just saying, I want to leave Brentford."
Yeah, and the thing is, they've backed him as well. Do you know what I mean? It's not like I feel like that's a bit. If I was a Brentford fan, I would be fuming.
Yeah, like in the case of let's go on the other side, Fulham, you've got Mitrovic, right? Almost just as much of a prolific goal scorer as Ivan Toney was, and you've got him saying, "Oh, I want to leave. I want to leave. I want to leave." He wants to go to Saudi Arabia. He's only got his deal put through just now. He's almost held the club to ransom a little bit. Marco Silva is in the unfortunate position saying he's still a Fulham player. He will play, and then Mitrovic is just like, no. Ivan Toney has given a lot for Brentford. Obviously, he stuck with them when he was headhunted. He was obviously he decided to stay at Brentford even when he was linked with other Premier League clubs such as Crystal Palace. I still think it's a shame we never went in for him. That would have been a class signing. Yeah, you've sort of shot yourself in the foot there, Ivan. Not looking. Do you know what?
This ain't looking good, man. It's not looking good at all.
Thank you, Rich. I'm never going to stop using that clip. That clip is one of my favorites to use. But yeah, 3 points and 3 goals for Brentford. Yeah, not bad, Brentford. Not bad. Let's go to the other side of London, shall we? For probably the most comical game of the weekend. Oh dear, Chelsea. To say I enjoyed this result is an understatement. East London rises, West London falls, because West Ham, when you look at the two teams, and you look at the lineups, you're thinking Chelsea have got this in the bag. But no, sir, no. West Ham 3, Chelsea 1. I can't remember the last time West Ham beat Chelsea. For the life of me, I don't think it's been in the last 10 years.
They don't. Yeah.
West Ham do not do well.
Very rarely get results against Chelsea.
Yeah, this came as a surprise to me. Naif Egard gets the scoring underway. He gets sent off pretty much an hour later for a clear double yellow, and he mouths off to the referee as well. So you've not done well there. Michail Antonio would score as well, but not before Carney Chukwuemeka. I hope I've said that right, because I have trouble with that name. Carney Chukwuemeka. I think I have, yeah. Carney Chukwuemeka would score. He would run in. He would receive the ball on the left-hand side, fight off around about 3 West Ham defenders to coolly put it away. Great, well-taken goal. The 19-year-old gets his first Premier League goal, and that's a goal well taken as well. So well done to him. The youth of Chelsea is certainly coming into play in this young rebuild that Poch has enabled. Michail Antonio, though, class is forever whenever I talk about Michail Antonio. I know he does well whenever he plays against Palace. Obviously, South London boy. He does well for the South London team, not so much the East London team. He scores fighting off around about all the Chelsea defence, fires in a goal to make it 2-1. And then Moises Caicedo. I think the Brighton Twitter admin had a field day with this one because he gets subbed on. I'm surprised he didn't start. Poch opts to not start him. And then he makes the most horrific challenge inside the box. Now, even outside of the box, you don't make that challenge. He's very, very lucky to not even see a card for it. But he gives away a penalty, and he's looking around like, "What have I done? What have I done?" And Lucas Paqueta steps up for the penalty in the 95th minute to put in the third goal of the game. Paqueta, who's now confirmed as his move to City is now completely 100% off. Obviously, indications were an investigation was going to be put into place against him for betting. But yeah, Chelsea, oh dear. Poch yet to find even a point. Or 3 points, rather. 3 points, it should be said. It's not looking good. It's not looking good right now. Obviously, they just lost Chukwuemeka as well because he came off due to a knee injury, of which Mudryk came on for him. He left the game on crutches. An injury crisis early on. Obviously, they've lost Nkunku for a good period of time. They've lost Reece James up until the end of September. Now they've lost Chukwuemeka.
And they'll probably lose Chilwell because he's made of glass.
Yeah. He certainly is. He certainly is. It's interesting with Chelsea because this rebuild obviously has built up an astronomical bill, and obviously they've not got Champions League football, so the squad depth is, well, they've got pretty much 2 squads worth of players. But you know what? Less about Chelsea, more about West Ham, because they deserve all the plaudits for this game. This was David Moyes' West Ham at their level best. Never mind the Aguerd red card. This European trophy has just taken West Ham to a whole new level. And I think this is the West Ham of old, where they would dole out they would come up against these bigger teams and they would just outclass them on the pitch. Their ball movement would be absolutely fantastic. Dan, do you think this was West Ham at their level best in this game?
Yeah, I mean, when you're scoring from set pieces, that's just David Moyes all over, isn't it? Really, and like, at first I didn't fully understand why they bought Ward-Prowse, but having thought about his set piece ability and the fact that they'll just try and knock in set pieces for fun, I now fully understand.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, credit to Moyes, they've done well. I was not banking, but I was thinking that they might have a bit of a poor season. But 3 points against Chelsea, like you said earlier, they don't normally do that. Fair play to them.
Yeah, and they, hopefully they run with that, because that will take them very, very far, especially with European draws coming up in the next, I believe, week and a half. I believe in a week and a half time we should get the European draws. So West Ham will certainly be looking ahead for that. Let's go to some comments before we move on. Michael says, Brighton have one of the best recruitment strategies in the Premier League. They use some sort of algorithm to recruit players and sell them for a huge fee. Ben White, Cucurella, McAllister, Sanchez, and Caicedo. It's mad how 1, 2, 3 of those are to Chelsea.
And two of those are through their academy as well. Ben White and Sanchez came through their academy.
Yeah, of course, yeah.
The thing is, I'm not gonna. Brighton do have a very good strategy, but I think in my honest opinion, I think most Premier League clubs have a terrible strategy. Like for example, they're picking up Fabrizio Diaz, like I said earlier. Now, all the Premier League team has to do is literally have someone watch the Under-20 World Cup. Like, they're not picking up these players from, like, you know, without breaking the watershed, you know, the A end to nowhere. Do you know what I mean? They're not picking them up like down the streets. Like, look, the teams that they go to are some of the best teams in their respective countries who are known for producing good players. Like McAllister, I think, came from Argentinos Juniors, who was the team that Madonna,
Yes, it's happened again on the Premier League review show. Someone got our name wrong. 40 minutes in. Let's go. It's not me this time. Oh, Mario Sane.
But
this is going into bloopers. Yeah.
it was an eye contact as well.
Oh dear. He's had a mare, yes. He's had a mare. As you were though, Dan, as you were.
Yeah, so like I said, Argentinos Juniors, that's where Maradona came from. Caicedo came from Independiente del Valle, which is one of the best teams in Ecuador. They got to the Copa Libertadores semi-final not long ago. Like, these aren't like terrible teams. So all I'm trying to say is, like, if you've got a semi-decent scout network, you'll know of these players. Like I said, they're not like, it's not like they're playing in like the 3rd division or something and anything like that. Again, like I said, their recruitment is very good, and I think Premier League teams will eventually go that way. I think there won't be I think it'll be a case of you won't be in the Premier League if you're not doing things like this. You're not that smart. So yeah, and I think they've got there a bit ahead of everyone else. But their whole plan is very good as well, to be fair. Yeah. I mean, like you were saying, like JC said, they've got a system that they fit those players into their system, make them look very good / are just very good in that system, and then they'll sell them to, say, Chelsea. Like Cucurella went to Chelsea, and then he wasn't that good in their system.
No, he's not. But yeah, no, great point here from, as Dan was just saying, Caicedo, to be fair, didn't have a pre-season, but most Chelsea's fail as they work in Brighton's system and not many others, as Dan just explained. Michael just saying, I forgot to add that Everton have an FFP hearing in October for exceeding their financial fair play in regards to the financial irregularities. If guilty, could be docked points, with Southampton, Leeds and Leicester set to sue them. Spicy. Do you know what? Let's talk about Everton, because they were just horrific. And oh dear, Aston Villa, right? Shout out to Martin, because he's not really mouthed off in our football chat to poor old Matthew Smith of the Everton fans. This was an easy win for Villa. Everton might as well have just not turned up, because Jordan Pickford, he had a mare. He had an absolute mare. So John McGinn, who rarely gets on the score sheet, he gets a goal in the 18th minute. And a few minutes after that, Jordan Pickford makes the most stupidest decision I've seen him do. It's almost like it's Virgil-esque, this, because he comes out of nowhere, wipes out the Villa player. Like, my man spears him like he's rated our superstar Edge. Like, Pickford, you're playing football, mate. You're not in a wrestling ring. This ain't on this day I see clearly. No, sir. On this day, you are dire. He concedes the penalty. Douglas Luiz puts it away. Leon Bailey, certainly in this game, was fantastic. He set up John McGinn early in the game. He gets an assist. He gets his goal, rather, in the 51st minute. and then Jahan Duran subbed on by Emery, and almost like 15 seconds later, he's got the ball in the back of the net. Now, dream debuts left, right, and centre for the past 2 weeks because we've had debutants come in and they've scored instantly. So whatever they're putting in the water for debutants, we kind of need some. I
was stirring a pot, which is ironic.
Oh dear, I need co-hosts more times than this, man. Oh god, this has been a funny one. Right, Everton absolutely dire in this game. Aston Villa pretty much reset their goal difference after last weekend's horror show at Newcastle. This was the Aston Villa that everyone was waiting to see. Obviously, Emery had them cooking last season. We were waiting to see this, and this is it. A good launching pad on for the rest of the season. But Everton, ooh, I don't know. Work to be done. It's still early on in the season, so we can't exactly say, they're going to go down. We're only 2 games in, but Everton, work to be done for them. Emery, well done. Well done indeed. Right. We're not going to talk a lot about this because obviously this is the Eagle-Eyed Football channel. You're going to get a dedicated video about this in the match reaction. But before that, please do go and watch the fan cams. Shout out to everyone who went. This was an impressive Arsenal win for them. A couple of chances for Palace here and there. Martin Odegaard would score from. I'm not going to say it's a Stonewall penalty. I don't really think this was a penalty because if you have to give that penalty, you have to give Eze the penalty as well because he got brought down inside the box. You've also got Schlupp getting brought down by Thomas Partey. It better to watch the dedicated match reaction, obviously with the panel coming up. Takahiro Tomiyasu though, two yellow cards inside 7 minutes. He gets sent off to put Arsenal under the cosh a little bit. The first yellow card is for time wasting. The second yellow card is not a yellow card, not in my opinion, because he brings down Jordan Ayew, almost like obviously he clashed with Tomiyasu. He goes down, and the referee gives a second yellow card, and
See, this is the duality of man because I thought it was a sending off. I thought Arsenal's was a penalty, and I thought Eze's wasn't a penalty.
Oh, fair enough. Okay, so fair enough.
Duality of man, right here, yin and yang.
Well, that's why I started doing this show, to get that sort of discussion going. But as JC said, very bad reffing in this game.
Well, I'll know never to become a ref then.
The inconsistency, again, as we were talking about earlier, it really just shows off. But yeah, guys, please do go ahead and what. He didn't have the ball for just 3 seconds. Oh dear. Thank you, JC. 23 seconds.
Yeah. To be fair, what I will say is I agree. The inconsistency is bad because the thing is, I don't disagree with Tomiyasu getting the yellow card for time wasting in the first place. But if you're going to do it for one, I think you should do it for others. And Kai Havertz did that way more on that particular occasion. Yeah. So if you're gonna yellow one, yellow another as well. But
right, we're gonna move on to probably my favorite segment of the show. It is time for Baller of the Week. And Dan's not gonna like this because it's Kaoru Mitoma. Yeah, he had a great game. We've already spoken about him, so we're not going to go too much into detail about him. But yeah, assists and goals for him in this game. Yeah, Kaoru Mitoma, you win Baller of the Week. Quick comment here from JC. Thought Arsenal was a pen, and as he wasn't. So you've got someone agreeing with you there, Dan. Yeah, Mitoma, well done.
No, fair play. I think that's pretty fair. He had a good week.
I'm going to put it on the ticker there. Manager of the week, as chosen by Nathan, was David Moyes of West Ham United for obviously a fantastic win over Chelsea. So thank you very much, Nate, for
Moyes. Could have had Guardiola.
And I am now considering that I think maybe JC needs to be put in a timeout for that one. Yeah. Careful. Anyway, let's move on to I still laugh at that Bashiwai. How did we ever want him at Palace, man? Oh dear. Right. Brick of the week. Moises Caicedo.
Right.
£115 million down the toilet. And as I said before, the Brighton Twitter admin had a field day with this one because I think they put up Moises Caicedo, no refunds, no returns. So can somebody stop? Can somebody stop with this all this Brighton doing good? Because I can't keep praising them wearing this shirt. Okay, it's not looking.
Just ain't looking good, man. It's not looking good at all.
Thank you, Rich. Thank you very much, Rich. Again, right. So yeah, that's Brick and Baller of the Week, including Manager of the Week. So let's show off our Team of the Week as chosen by us all. Let's get rid of that. There we go. So in goal, so I believe the assignments were Rich chose goalkeeper, Dan, you yourself chose the defense, I chose the midfield, and JC chose the attacking players in a 4-3-3 formation here. Mark Flecken of Brentford, he had a terrific game in this. Sorry, I just want to put up Chelsea certainly, yeah. Poch's be like, "Where's that Caicedo receipt?" And JC saying 5 sending offs this game week. That's probably one of the highest that I can remember. 5 bricks.
Yeah, I have to say, especially Nunez's one, just for like kicking off like that.
That was hilarious. That was funny for me.
That is definitely brick worthy.
He was definitely a contender. It's just the fact of the debut for Moises and the price tag. It's
100%.
Oh dear. Right. So Mark Flecken in goal with this one. Dan, talk us through your defensive choices there, please.
I chose these because Gay, obviously, I had firsthand. He was incredible against Arsenal. Mm-hmm. The goal wasn't his fault. Again, even Nketiah's shots, I don't even think were his fault. He's just so good, and like he comes forward as well. Like he's not just like a no nonsense defender. Like he comes forward, he's able to pick out pass. Like he's unreal. Estupinian, I think going forward, I've said it. Honestly, he's probably the only Brighton player I actually like, which says a lot. No, but seriously, I think he's a very, very good player, and I actually think he's been one of Brighton's best transfers, which also says a lot. And for his attacking display, like that left-hand side partnership he's got with Mitoma is very good. And so yeah, so I picked him there. Akanji, well, they didn't concede a goal. They kept Newcastle relatively quiet, which is a very hard thing to do. And not only that, he's also a key part in their build-up as well. So I went with Akanji. Pinnock, I mean, again, conceded 0 goals. kept a clean sheet, and I didn't get to watch the game, but judging by the stats, he made the most interceptions, he made the most tackles, he made the most clearances. So I went with Ethan Pinnock. Sorry.
Thank you very much, Dan, for the great choices as well. Because I like no fault between that one, unlike Nathan's choices last week. Because how you don't choose Haaland and Isak when they get braces, I don't know. But anyway, let's move on. I'm not gonna focus on that one too much. The midfield obviously chosen by me, all 3 players from London teams, which I just clocked. James Ward-Prowse having a dream debut. His set piece ability, as Dan said, is second to none. I think he's probably the best set piece taker in the Premier League. I can't think of anybody else who might actually be better.
No, I think that's pretty spot on, actually.
Yves Bissouma dominated the midfield against Manchester United. He was cooking the stats, the interceptions, the tackles, the everything. The pass accuracy as well for Bissouma was, I think, the best out of all the Tottenham players who played in that game. And of course, Declan Rice, who featured against Palace for Arsenal. This move from West Ham to Arsenal has done him well. He's certainly solidified himself into that Arsenal team. And he's done very, very well against Palace. Moving the ball around, his movement on and off the ball. Yeah, well done, Rice. JC chose the attack. Solly March of Brighton, Brian Mbeumo of Brentford, our second Brentford player, and Julian Alvarez, our second Man City player. So thank you very much for those. Obviously, all 3 got on the score sheet for this game, for this game week. And that is that for the game week 2 team of the week. FPL update. Right, let me get up the FPL.
Don't know if I want to see this.
Are you in there? Let me bring out the tab. There we go. Right, we can see. So last week.
Oh, I haven't joined. Oh, my bad. I haven't joined. Oh,
shocking.
Sorry. I thought I did.
That's a red card. I'm not gonna lie. That is a red card. How? Like, Nate doesn't even do this, so I don't even blame him. And his choices are shocking as well. Right.
Yeah. No, I am in it. EA Fantasy Premier League.
Oh, cool.
I'm 47.
Well, yeah, you're 47. So you.
Oh, Jesus! I'm right near the bottom. Oh my God.
Is that a pause? No. I'm not gonna dish out a pause there.
Well, right near the bottom. Oh right.
I'm just a child. Anyway, JC, who was in the top spot last week, he's all the way down in 10th. He's at a mare. Shout out to Cameron Williams. You are top of the league for game week number 2. Obviously, we go down. We see Rich is above there. He's in 9th, just higher than JC on points scored. I'm in 17th. Woo! I'm in the top 20. I'll take that. Go down and shout out, see if you see your name. Shout out Martin of Aston Villa, of the Villa podcast. We keep going down. We're going to see him. We shout out Brush. Shout out James. There he is. Lerma She-Rogue. Oh, dear. Oh, dear. How is it you keep getting bullied around by James, man? Dear me.
I think, you know what, it's so bad that I genuinely might actually use my wild card. I've been debating it.
I'm not going to lie. I'm implementing my triple captain for next week. Right.
Why? Who's Haaland playing?
Sheffield United.
And
I've got Odegaard. That's my only saving grace from yesterday's game. Odegaard's in my FPL. I got points. And then we see we see the bottom. So shout out to Ricky Cullen, Tim Byers, my personal friend Kyle, Jack, and Eddie. Thank you very much for joining, guys. That's that one. Let me just, if you do want to join, There's the code. Type it in. Join. We've never got contacted by our champion. Yeah, so there is no, technically the FPL title is held in abeyance. We don't have a standing champion at the moment. CM at the top. Haaland having a mare. Yeah, he had a mare in this game. Let him, let's right. Let me bring up the Premier League table. La 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 la. There it is. Oh God, I've just seen something that I don't want to see. Great. I'm not gonna look forward to seeing this.
That's right. You can do it from second place to 20th.
Let's go from the bottom up. Everton, after a shocking start to the season, they find themselves bottom of the league with Sheffield, Luton, and Burnley. Obviously, Luton and Burnley, their match was suspended because Luton's home stadium, Kenilworth Road, not yet ready. So their game yet to be played. So they are still on one game played. To move up, Chelsea, mid-table mediocrity. It's Chelsea doing Chelsea things because look who's above them, as it should be,
And we're 11th.
So we're back where we should be. Hooray for us! Bournemouth, Fulham, Manchester United, and Crystal Palace making up the bottom half of the table. As we go into the top 10, we see Nottingham Forest, Aston Villa, Newcastle, West Ham, and Spurs. And in the top 5, Liverpool, Brentford, Arsenal, Man City, and some team no one cares about because hey, I said no one cares about them.
Is Wolves versus Everton next week a relegation 6-pointer already?
It might just be. Right, that's all from us two. Dan, where can our lovely viewers find you if they haven't already?
I'm at Down to 10 on Twitter. My Twitter's going through some changes at the moment. I will still be talking absolute rubbish, and I'll still talk about like stats and football stuff. But if you want any threads that I do about players, so the next one I'm going to do is about Iheanacho, and that'll be out next Monday. That will be on Eagle Eye Ball Twitter. So if you're looking for that, go there. Otherwise, if you just want to sign up to mine, it's at Down to 10.
Lovely stuff, yeah. And please do watch out for those threads because they are so good. Especially with Iheanacho. I'm looking forward to that one because rumors are persisting.
Yeah,
there's rumors that is
definitely interesting. And you know what? If we can offload Mateta for 11 million, one, I will be shocked.
Who's taking it for 11 million?
Two, also, I did put a poll up earlier just to see if people wanted me to do one about Iheanacho or Dennis. But Iheanacho won by like 90%, or he's winning by 90%. So, Arsenal.
I want to laugh at that because it's prime humor, yeah. But at the same time, it's oh dear. And
I've had a lot of free advertisement this weekend.
Yeah, you have. All right. So from Dan, from Statman Dan and myself, thank you ever so much for watching. We are Eagle Eyed Football, and we will see you next time. Peace.
Eagles.